Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you think of a number between 1 and 10? Let me know. I haven't got my headphones on, but then again, I don't really need them because I can hear myself. Yep. 5, close. 7, ooh, close. 7 as well. Very close. Fingers crossed that Botrix is listening to us as well. 6, Ewan, you are very, very close. It's exciting, this, isn't it? 2.5, I like your thinking. No. Unlucky Mandy, but I like your thinking. Yeah. It's hot again. Has anyone noticed? And I had a shower just about, what time is it? About an hour ago, I jumped in the shower. But I didn't jump in, I stepped in gingerly. Can't wait to jump in anywhere. 6.2891. Ewan, you were so close, so close. Yeah, so I'm warm anyway because I was in the shower, but also it's roasting. I've had to leave the windows open. So if you hear seagulls arguing outside, it's just their natural environment. I am at the coast, you see. Can you hear that one? I hope that's a seagull, because if it's not, there's a kid getting leather outside. And we don't want that, do we? Anyway, the number I was thinking of was 14. Think outside the box. Think outside the box, man. Well, it's been another strange couple of days. Like I mentioned in one of my little shorts yesterday, I was shattered yesterday. I wrote an email and I had to have a half-hour lie down because I was just absolutely exhausted. There are some days when that just happens, where fatigue absolutely nails you. So today I thought, I'll be fine. Got up, gave Jess a lift as normal. Had me cup of tea, I was feeling great. I thought I'm going to get everything done today that I couldn't get done yesterday. And I have done absolutely nothing because it's the same thing today. Exhausted yet again, and I don't know why, don't know where it's coming from. Obviously it's just general fatigue from having the stroke, obviously, but yeah, it was a little bit strange that 2 days in a row I've had no energy. I've not been able to get up and go for a walk. I did manage to hit me base steps yesterday, funnily enough, which I didn't think I ever would do. Only 2,000, but considering how low I thought my steps were going to be yesterday, I'm quite pleased with that. I have no chance of hitting them today because I'm not going to Tesco. I might have a little bit of a wander to the top of the road and back, maybe get a couple of, or a few hundred. That's strange as well. It's probably a sign that I am getting better. I used to walk from here to the top of the road and back, and it was about 500 steps. Now when I do it, it's 350. Because obviously I'm getting back to the point where I'm not shuffling as much. Me walking, my steps are getting that little bit better. I'm still knackered, but my steps are getting better, which is, I'm seeing that as a positive. So even though I'm not getting the amount of steps in that I should, I'm still doing the same distance, which is no bad thing. The weather does make a difference. My daughter, when I picked her up, said it was like 19 degrees when she was finishing work, and they were all knackered and feeling horrible. It's going to be 28 tomorrow. So, fair play to them for working in this. Thank you, Lizzie. It is great. I'm starting to get to that point where the numbers are not really meaning much to me, because I know when I'm doing well and when I'm not doing well. I know if I've cheated, if I'm having a day where I could have done something and I haven't. I could have walked, or I could have gotten the treadmill in the house, not even outside, just on the treadmill. Or I could have done a bit more handwork in the kitchen, picking up playing cards or using my therapy and what have you. If I haven't done that when I could have done, then I know I've let myself down. But at the moment, I'm doing what I can do. And when I haven't got the energy, I haven't got the energy. Which is going to be strange for this weekend. It's Wednesday today, isn't it? Which means tomorrow is Thursday, then Friday, then it's the big day. I last went to an Everton game in March 2020. Then lockdown kicked in. And then my dad had his operation and I had my stroke. So just haven't got round to going back to a game since then. I have renewed my season ticket 4 times within that space. And Saturday I'm going for the first time. And it's starting to not make me nervous. I don't know if there's a word for it. I don't know what it is. It's not nervous. I've been going to match regularly since 1985 at Goodison. Well, I've been going to football before then with my dad, obviously. But going to watch Everton regularly, sort of week in, week out since 1985. So I'm not remotely nervous about going to the stadium or the environs. But it's going to be weird because I'm going to have to leave about an hour earlier than we normally would do, just to find somewhere to park near to the stadium. And then to be able to walk up, take me time, stop, get my breath back, get my energy together, and then get me way into the stadium. So I think it's going to be a long day. Just getting there and back in itself is going to be a hell of a mission. As long as I take me time, I'll be alright. But it is just starting to get that little bit of nervousness about it. No, not nervous. I don't know. I'll find out what the word is. It'll come to me fairly soon. It's not apprehension either. It might be a combination of excitement and regret that I'm not fit and healthy enough to go for a pint with the lads and then just bounce up the stairs as normal. But I'll be alright. 1987, Steve. Good year that we won the title. 86, 87. I was quite lucky that my uncle used to take me to the games whenever we were back in England. So it was Christmas, we get loads of games in, and then the end of the season we get a few. So I saw us lift the league in 1985. I don't think I missed the game in 1986, 87 because we were back home at that point. So I've seen us win a couple of things. Susan, how you doing? How's things? Happy days? Yeah, I've seen us win a couple of things. I've also seen us be awful and stay up on the last day a couple of times. But as the saying goes, if I'd never seen the sunshine, I wouldn't mind the rain. Well, when you're not seeing either of them, it's nice just to be able to get back and I'll be able to see people. It'll be 27 seasons in the same seat. Before that, I was in a different seat or I was paying on the gate and just you sat where you had to sit. 27 seasons. When I first went into that seat, the people around me were bringing their young kids. Now their young kids are growing up and are bringing their young kids. It is bizarre. And I've not seen them for 3 years. And I do miss them. I've spent a lot of time with them over the years. It's, yeah. Weird that. There's people, and I don't even know the names, but I've known them for 27 years as mate. Alright, mate. Saying that, right, I've got a mate who I've known for even longer than that. Probably 30 odd years now. I've only ever known, or I only ever knew him as Moose, because that was his nickname. And I didn't know he had a real name. And then one day, he said his real name, and I went, well, hang on. There's a girl in our work who's got that surname, and it turns out I'd worked with her for over 10 years. I didn't realise and him had the same surname, and they were in fact father and daughter. It was just bizarre. And speaking of my mates from that particular pub, one of them runs a company and he's looking at possibly sponsoring the podcast, maybe even the YouTube channel, which is, I think, somewhere like a year ahead of schedule, perhaps, maybe even longer than that. But we shall see. Anything I can do to help him out, I will do so. I'll be happy with that. He's a good lad. He's our pink man. Good lad. Yeah. What else? Oh, the personal independent payment has come through saying that I am entitled. So I'm waiting to get the letters back off them. Hopefully that will be next week, and I'll find out what it is I'm entitled to. I was absolutely brutally truthful with the people on the phone, because I've worked in that sphere, that area, that work. I was a compliance officer working to find out people who were claiming things they were not entitled to. And I know that you can tell a liar a mile off. So if you lie to people who are experienced and trained in these things, they'll find ways of tripping you up easily. So I was just absolutely brutally truthful, and they've come back and said, yeah, you are entitled, which, to be fair, I can't use my left hand. I mean, it's not a joke, it's not put on or anything like that. Genuinely can't use it. So to be able to, I've got to have my bedding changed, and I am about 1.5 years away from even thinking about doing that for myself. So someone else has got to do it for me. Definitely can't do the cooking for myself. Would you trust yourself if you got a knackered hand to hold a pan or a saucepan or something? There's times when I am trying to hold on to something when I'm doing like my exercises, and it just cramps up. I'd end up swilling myself. I'd be melted within seconds. Yes, do you know what, Lizzie? I am entitled. Again, like I say, I've not lied about anything. I've just told them straight, this is what happens. This is what I can do and what I can't do. I told them about being able to walk. I can walk around the house, that's not a problem. Sometimes I have to just stop and take my time. Getting down the stairs, I really have to take my time, because I don't want to end up starfished at the bottom. I can go out and walk to the top of the road and back, and I can do my little figure of 8 circuits, but I always have to make sure that wherever I am on that circuit, I'm close to home. And I said the same thing to them. It's down to the fatigue as much as anything else. The strength in the leg might be getting better, I might be getting stronger, the muscles might be coming back slightly. But it doesn't matter if you've got muscles in your legs or not. When fatigue hits you, you have to stop. That's it, it's an end there and then. Until you've got energy back and you get your breath back, you're knackered. So again, I just told them everything like that completely straight. And we shall see. Any little help that I get, I can put back towards the family, the household. Because I think, well, the family deserve it for what they've done for me, looking after me. They've been great. I know parents are supposed to look after the kids and what have you, but I really am thankful for the parents that I have, because they have gone above and beyond looking after me. Lizzie, yeah, people don't understand fatigue until they get it themselves. That is 100% right. I used to play footy every Thursday night. I know what it's like being absolutely shattered from playing footy to the point where there's nothing left to give. But that was after playing footy, and I understood where that came from. And then within a day or two, or in fact the following day, my energy was back. I might have been sore, but my energy was back. Barnesy, how you doing, mate? But with this, fatigue just hits for no reason. Like I say, yesterday I sent an email. That was it. That's all I did. And then for half an hour afterwards, I was no good whatsoever. I'm quite happy that all I'm doing at the moment, I can picking Jess up and taking her to work every morning, or picking her up after work. That I don't have to do anything physically. I'm in the car does all the work. I'm fine with that. If I had to do something myself, I think I'd be a little bit gone at the moment. But I'll get there. Like I've said time and time again, I think if anyone ever has any kind of illness, this kind of illness especially, where it's, I know it's a brain issue that I've got. Yeah, I think everyone's been telling me that since I was born, to be honest with you. You have got a brain issue. Yes, I know. But it's still, it's physically demanding. Just being awake, it's strange. When I say being alive, being awake, it is. It's all right when you're asleep, apart from getting cramp in the stroke leg, which is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Level 4, Mandy, well done. You win more wool for potatoes, which is a sentence I never thought to actually say, but there you go. Mandy and the woman with many names. That's a very, very mighty Bush thing, that, isn't it? I go by many names. I can't say much though myself, with the amount of aliases I've got online. I think I need to start. I don't need to start another one. I have started another one just in case. in case this channel goes tits up. So always have something to fall back on. Well, I was watching a thing earlier on. There's loads of YouTube channels that I've been watching that deal with YouTubers. So YouTube is one of the greatest things given to man, and also one of the worst things on earth at the same time. The people on it are either brilliant or they are some of the worst people in history. There's a fella in Northern Ireland, which I'd never even heard of. He faked a live stream, which he recorded 4 days in advance, and then played it as though it was a live stream over Christmas, and then went and killed his girlfriend and used that as his alibi. And I was just watching that the other day. Some fella was going into you, telling you all the ins and outs of it, what he'd done, how he got caught. It was just incredible. I might put a link to it in the RDA later, but it was one of the strangest things I think I'd ever watched. I was going to say it's evil genius, but it isn't, because the man was an absolute idiot. He got a taxi home to his actual house on the night he was supposed to be in the house, drunk and passed out, using his own bleeding name. Lizzie, it was horrifying. It was a young girl who was 15 weeks pregnant as well, which was with his baby. Just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I've been watching loads of stuff like that recently about horrific things that YouTubers have done and how horrible people they are. When you think about, I think we're quite lucky. The people that are in our little circle in our community are all sound. There's no real raging personalities. The personalities are all sort of sound and level, I think. There's no one who's a big diva, no one who's going, look at me, look at me, look at me, you know, I'm so important. No. Nothing like that. Well, yeah, Lizzie. Not in the same. If I show you some of these videos, you'll understand what I mean. Not in the same way. There's one of them that was getting people kicked out of a hotel. And what was his phrase? If we were normal people. What do you mean if you were normal people? You're a fucking YouTuber. That's it. Normal people. Knobheads. Yeah. There are some horrific people on the channel. Oh, sorry, on the platform. On the channel, there's just all fantastic people, sorry. Yeah. But YouTube has got some absolutely horrific people. Some of the things they've gotten up to, and there's been people abusing animals and all kinds of weird stuff. And what was I watching? Obviously people getting doxxed, and one influencer who left a 4-year-old kid in a house and then drove 11 miles to go and hang out with her mates. And the kid got out and was walking around the streets. Yes, that was mentioned. The Don't Fuck With Cats was mentioned on one of the films that I watched. They were saying that this was just as bad. It was hamsters getting boiled and all kinds of stuff. There's got to be a point, I think, in YouTube where you reach a certain amount of viewers where something just goes in your head and you think, I need to be chasing this constantly. What's the next thing I can do? And you end up doing ridiculous things that you really shouldn't be doing. Lunatics. Yes, it is very, very hot. Levelling up. Is everyone levelling up? There's something weird about Botrix. I was looking the other day, and loads of people had levelled up, but the points hadn't moved at all. So I don't know if the points stay the same, and then once you reach like 5 and then 10, you level up and it goes back down to 5 or something weird. But I can't find anything online about Botrix, really. It's fairly new, I think. And the only things I can find about it is about how to link it to Kick, which I might end up doing, and just streaming to YouTube and Kick and seeing what happens. You never know. Might bore people on a different platform at the same time. Oh, did you see the thumbnail for this, by the way? That is the Texaco petrol station that I have to drive past on an almost daily basis. And every time I see it, hot coffee cash machine, it just sounds like one of those really shite films. Hot coffee cash machine. And then in my mind, it's taken on mythical proportions, this. I think the only way that we can defeat the hot coffee cash machine is with Ninja potatoes. Yes, there are some exceptionally weird people out there. I will try and throw a few links in the RDA chat at some of the really odd things that I've been watching. Although there is some funny stuff as well. Have you ever heard of Sniper Wolf? I remember that name when I was playing Call of Duty over a decade ago. She's a girl, and all the fellas were trying to get into it because she's a gamer girl, and she's now just an absolute gobshite. Constantly stealing other people's material, nicking stuff off TikTok and other people's videos, and just literally word for word talking about what she sees on screen. And that apparently is a reaction channel. Anyone else doing that would have the channel struck off. They'd be banned. No, YouTube are right behind her. It's ridiculous. Lizzie, when you get... do you know what? When you get a chronic illness, you instantly start watching true crime. I've been watching for years. Was I secretly, in the back of my head, did I know there was something wrong with me? So I was getting in there early, getting in the ground floor. Your brain's about to go pop. Start watching this crazy stuff. Yeah, or stealing other YouTubers' ideas. I don't mind that if they're taking someone's idea and then putting their own spin on things. But all she's doing literally is watching TikToks from people and saying what's happening on the screen. There's no transformative content. There's no reaction to it. I mean, you watch Dan and Spencer when they're doing their reactions. They are literally they're telling you how they're feeling about things or what's coming across to them. It's a different spin on it. Genuinely different spin. And some of the other reaction channels that we watch, the same thing. You're getting their take on things, not just there's a man there, he's fell over. Oh my God, the man fell over. Give me the money, give me the money. Knobheads. But of course, I think she's one of the more favourite people with YouTube because she's got 20 odd million followers, 20 odd million subscribers, and they will watch anything she puts out. So it'll be driving traffic towards their platform, no matter if it's against the terms of service. Terms of service are the kind of things that get us kicked off, but then they'll promote them instead. But true crime just out the window. Yeah, I'm lucky where we are. It's fairly quiet out there, quite nice. But yeah, there's parts of Liverpool where I grew up, which, yeah, look outside and watch people getting shot every 5 seconds. Yes, Lizzie, she is followed by lots of kids, and you can tell. She keeps putting on that stupid little baby accent. And it's for the attention span of proper children. I watch other channels where it's similar kind of content. It is transformative, and you get something where they will ask questions of you, the viewer who's watching them, trying to find ways of getting you to interact with them. What do you think? This is what my opinion is. With that though, it's just look, flashing colours. And the other thing as well, which I was completely unaware of until a couple of days ago, was something on TikTok about NPCs, which is non-playable characters. If you play if you play Grand Theft Auto, your character, you play him and then you interact with other people, but there's loads of other characters just walking around the city who are non-playable characters, and they occasionally say something. Well, there's people on TikTok who are constantly just doing this thing. Oh, yeah, go and watch it. I've looked for TikTok NPCs on YouTube and just watch how ridiculous this is. I sat and watched about an hour last night of people screaming about them, how awful they are, and I think my brain almost gave way. American Bill Bailey. Oh, Andy, I know what you mean. And now I can't think. Oh, that's going to annoy the life out of me. Oh, yeah. Why did you say that? It's going to really annoy me now. I remember his Chadio's, one of Chadio's panels. That'll come to me in a minute. Yeah. Botrick, there's a few, there's Botrick, there's I think there's a streamer bot. There's another one. And I am going to have to look into it and find out how to use these points. There must be something I can give away. There's got to be. Everyone's leveling up with points. There's got to be something I can give you. So I might throw that in the RDA later to see if I can get some ideas. If you're earning points, you've got to be able to spend them. I think there's a widget. Like I've got the chat on the screen at the moment. I think there's a widget that I can have on the screen, maybe on the other side. That there's a box, and then you're allowed to click on it and spend your points on something. I don't know. We'll find out what it is. Obviously, it won't be alcohol or firearms. We're not allowed to do that on YouTube, but you never know. That's it, Lizzie. People saying hamburger and ice cream and pretending to eat, which is, to be honest with you, when they're pretending to eat, it's like something off a X-rated film, is what they're really doing. It is bizarre. Has to be seen to be believed. Pinky Doll, I think she's the one of the main ones on TikTok for it. I don't really go on TikTok much, but thankfully all that had passed me by until now. But I just don't get it. NPCs, saying, yeah, Casper is just saying character lines, and there's loads of bright colours, and it's obviously, I forget the fella who was watching, who was just going sick about it, saying how ridiculous they are. He said maybe it is an ASMR thing, and people just sit there with their headphones on, listening, and tease one over the thumb. That's the only reason I can think they could possibly be doing it. Attractive anime girls doing things that they can't get them to do in real life. Jesus, it's ridiculous. Makes me brain melt even more. And yeah, if you have a look on, especially YouTube, there are some fantastic channels where you can actually learn about stuff. People are getting angry. Yep, quite rightly so. The world is dumbed down enough. We don't need to be pushing more and more of this idiocy. There's got to be a base level of intelligence. At some point, when's it going to stop? Will it at some point with like the NPC stuff, will it just get to that stage where everyone goes, right, you know what, this is utter shit. This has got to stop. Do something else. Do something entertaining. Do something intelligent. Give me an opinion. Not just cheeseburger, pop. Fucking idiots. Yeah. No soapbox tonight. No. I'm trying not to. But I am a very, very opinionated person when it comes to stuff like this, unfortunately. Yeah, stupid. Seriously, Steve, if you watch one for about 2 minutes, you'd understand. You'd be screaming at the screen. Man, not Blaze, no. That's going to annoy me. I know who it is. I can picture him. I can picture him wearing his, he was wearing an ice hockey top last time I saw him. I was going to say, he's got a long beard and he's American, but on those panel shows on YouTube, that's 99.9% of the people who are on there. They all look identical. And they're all very loud. So. Is it Thrack or something like that? Nothing wrong with fat men, Steve. Nothing wrong with fat men at all. In fact, I'm on my way to getting there at the moment, which is annoying the life out of me. I'm about 2 stone lighter than I was, and yet I look as though I've put weight on because I can't run, I can't play footy. I'm getting a little cocky watchman's hut on me, and I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Can't wait until the day where I can start running. I do miss that. I never thought I would do, but I do. Don't think I'll ever get back to being able to play 5-a-side footy anymore. Indoors, that sprinting round for an hour, absolutely exhausting for an hour. I think that's gone, unfortunately. But I might be able to have a run on the treadmill. Yeah. I might not be able to run outside. Do you know what I'm going to have to... Oh yeah, I'm going to have to go out sometime this week or next week, if the weather's okay. There's the place over the road from us, which never used to be there when I first moved there. It was just like an empty couple of fields, which is now Kew Woods. And it looks lovely. It was built up over the last few years. It looks absolutely stunning, but I still haven't been in there. I just drive past it all the time now. So yeah, I think I'm going to have a walk in there and take a camera with me. Not a good camera, obviously, because I'll end up getting stabbed by some ute dressed all in black, one of the North Face ninjas. No, not losing me Sony to that shite. Who is... man, you're going to have to work out who it is. Get on your phone and try and find out. Is it one of Chadio's mates who's on the panel shows on YouTube? Is that who it is? Because I think... I can remember seeing him. I can't think what his name is. I know he's got an odd YouTube name we all have. 15 stone, Casper. I'm heading that way myself. I think I'm 14 stone 2 at the moment. When I was just under 16 stone when I had the stroke. And I went down to 12 stone 10, which was horrific. My legs were too thin. I had nothing about me. I couldn't walk. It was horrible. And I was getting lifted out of the bed on a hoist. That doesn't really do much for you. Casper, I am 6'4" or 1m93. And I became 6'4", 1m93 when I was 14. In 6 months, I went from 5'10" to 6'4". So by the age of 14, I looked like I was about 25 or something, which meant I was in pubs at an early age. Never in any risk of getting kicked out or ID checked because I looked like a proper ass. Yeah. So being tall, I can put weight on and lose it. Quite a lot of weight without anyone really noticing. I can go between... I used to be between 14.5 and 16 stone, and no one had really noticed too much. But I would, because I'd be carrying it around. But when I went to 12'10", I could really notice it. I looked ill. I looked ill. I was in hospital for 2 months. I looked ill. Although, to be fair, I didn't look too ill for too long, apart from the legs looking like sparrow's legs. One of the fellas come round of the night doing the blood pressure, and he was off a different unit altogether. He just come in to cover, and when he seen me and done my blood pressure, it was all perfect. He went, "Are you sure you're ill? Your blood pressure is better than mine." So it might be now, mate, but it wasn't last month, and that's why I'm in here and can't move. Yeah. Thrash, that's the one. I said Thrash, didn't I? Thrash is an album by King Crimson. Nothing like it at all. Yeah, Thrash. Is it just me, or do they all look the same? All the people on those panel shows? I mean, I don't know, I can talk wearing a baseball cap. But the old baseball cap, straggly beards, very loud. Not much variation, is there? Yeah, you don't get not many females on there either, is there? That needs to be changed. Needs to be more female representatives rather than just the same people constantly. The panel shows, Steve, you've seen them on YouTube. It'd be like me having a live now and then suddenly inviting not just one person or two people, normally 4, 5 and 6 people, and then everyone's shouting over each other. And they're not particularly good, although Dan done one not long ago when it went alright. It was fairly quiet. But yeah, sometimes there'll be too many and people just trying to out loud each other. And in the end, you have 5 or 10 minutes of people shouting and being out of sync with each other. Then you have to turn over and watch something more important and interesting, like NPCs going cheeseburger, pop, 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 pop. There are no females anywhere on YouTube. It feels like that at times, and it shouldn't do. Come on, there's got to be more opportunities for just, I don't even want to say more interaction or more diversity. There's room for everyone. Doesn't matter whether you're a 13-year-old gamer or a 50-year-old chat shiter. Male, female, all the sexualities under the rainbow, everything. It's there for everyone. But it just seems to be, it attracts a certain demographic, of which I know I'm probably part of. But, yeah. Yes, Lizzie. We are the only ones who know. I think that's a good sign for the rest of the people in this chat that they don't know what that is. Be thankful that you don't know what that is. But go and have a look anyway, and then you'll realise just how horrific the whole scene is. How did these scenes start? Who decided to do it the first time? Right, that's up there with who was the first person to milk a cow and what did you think they were doing? Oh. Casper, Jesus Christ. 6'8". Going from 5'10" to 6'8". That's a hell of a growth spurt, that one. I've got a mate who's 6'8". I've got stretch marks myself from when I grew, and that was only, I grew 6 inches. 10 is just incredible. Yeah, Liz is on YouTube, but she uses a different name. She uses loads of different names. She's also on OnlyFeet, if you want to go and see her over there. Building up quite a reputation at the moment, aren't you, Lizzie? It's quite funny, the size difference, is it? Vladimir or Vitaly Klitschko is married to Hayden Panten, whoever her name is. And the difference between them, you see them walking down the street holding hands, and it's like a fella taking his kid to the shop. It's bizarre. I think there is a website actually called OnlyFeet. I was looking for see if there was any memes, and there is. I was going to put one in the RDA the other day when you were talking about it, but I think there is actually a website, which is slightly worrying. There are some weird things out there. The internet, it's got to be the greatest thing ever devised by humanity and the worst thing in history because it is all the learning of every single human in history is out there. You can find out anything, and yet there are people just sat there telling you that the earth is still flat and you can't trust vaccines because, I don't know, they've got no idea, but they say it anyway. I've been watching some flat earth stuff today. Oh, it's hilarious. I think Al Murray said it right. Never mind the earth being flat, it's not even level. He's right. You know, you can look up and see the International Space Station going overhead. You literally can see it with your own eyes. Nothing goes as quick as that, honestly. Nothing goes as quick as that. You can get telescope and have a look and see it in pretty decent, a decent image of it. You can use your phone and a telescope and get a good picture of it. There's plenty of that on YouTube, people showing you how to do it. And they've got cameras on there constantly showing the Earth. And yet, despite that, apparently it's all film, it's all CGI, the moon doesn't exist. And if it does exist, it's hollow. There's not enough tinfoil on the Earth for these people. Yeah, the Flat Earth Society's got members from all around the globe. That's written on their website, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. I love this idea that all the way around the Earth there's an ice sheet, an ice shelf. You know, despite the fact that you could get in a boat yourself and sail around the world, but never once would you see that. Doesn't seem to be enough to prove to them that it doesn't exist, but there you go. I like the idea of the moon being hollow. You reckon that there's a base there under the ground, some alien base. I was talking to someone who I used to think was supremely intelligent, who told me that we had put a nuclear bomb. We had nuclear bombed Mars thousands and thousands of years ago, if not millions of years ago. And I couldn't work out how this was supposed to have worked, whether or not life is cyclical, and in such a 1,000 years' time we go back to being amoeba and then work our way through again, and it just goes like that. And at some point in the past we developed nuclear weapons and bombed Mars, and that's why it's red and there's no life there. I don't know, but it was just such a bizarre conversation that we had. Nazis on the moon. Yeah. Because the Nazis developed the V2 rocket. Werner von Braun developed that and went and helped NASA get into the moon. Therefore, the Nazis must have been on the moon first, and they're all living there now. The leap of intelligence it takes, and the leap of faith in your head it takes to come to that kind of a decision is beyond me. They're great, aren't they? Yes, man, the moon is a space dragon egg. I agree with that completely. That is as likely as any other of those conspiracies that they come up with. I love the fact as well, it's a hologram. Really, it's a hologram. Holograms do not emit light, they are light. You know, they don't shine light on us. And the fact that everything that we can see in the observable space with your own eyes, you can see is round. They're all globes, everything. Apart from the one that we're on at the moment. Oh, some of them flat earthers are absolutely amazing. Love to take them for a pint. I think my mates would kill them though, to be honest. Stonehenge is the remains of a... Do you know what? It looks like it could be a multi-storey car park. It looks like little entrances, doesn't it? And then you just go round and round and round and park your chariot up. I need to go to Stonehenge. I think I've said this before, haven't I? I've been past there but never actually been to there. I've never stopped the car, I just got out and looked. And I know there's Woodhenge nearby, which means that there should be Strawhenge and a big bad wolf somewhere. But yeah, how can I live in this country for all these years and I've never been never actually been to Stonehenge? I've never been to Glastonbury tour, never mind the festival. I've never been to Northern Scotland, the Highlands. There's loads of places I haven't been to, and I should do. Never been to Norwich. You never know. What I might do is, next time they come up, and Everton played them, I might come and watch. And then stay over and go and check out the Norfolk Beach Woodhenge as well, Steve. Go for a one day, it looks a gorgeous place. Elon Musk wanting to moon the mine. Moon the mine? Yeah, mine the moon even. Elon Musk, or elongated muskrat as I've been calling him, because he obviously wouldn't be searching that for himself. I don't think he understands anything. Obviously his family were rich. They were apartheid era emerald miners, and that's where he's got the majority of his money from. And he hasn't developed anything himself. He sort of got in on the ground floor of quite a few things and then just bought other places. And he's surrounded by people, and not one of them will say to him, stop being an absolute tit. And he needs it. Someone needs to tell him, you are being a helmet, behave yourself, but they won't. Norfolk's not as flat as people think. Tell that to the flat earthers. The Netherlands isn't as flat as people think. Well, it is actually, but not completely. I wonder what would happen if you took a flat earther to the Netherlands. Would they use that as look around? We only lived, I think it was only a few miles away from the German border when we lived in Enschede, and it is genuinely bizarre that you can go through the border, and as soon as you go through, you go upwards. It's like going up Everest. It's bizarre. Just the second you go through it. Yep, glass onion ripped it out of him. As they should. There's something, I don't know, there's a cult, I have to be very careful saying that, surrounding Elon Musk, where no matter how stupid he is, people seem to throw themselves around him, saying he's a genius. He's the world's most genius man of all time. He's the geniusest man of all time. I don't even think he's rich. I think I've said this before as well. They've hyperinflated Tesla stock to the point where it's overvalued, which I don't think is any kind of secret within money societies. And at some point, that's going to tumble and he will be skint. And the things that he's bought on the back of leveraging Tesla stock will then revert to the people who sold it, and they'll become rich and he won't. But he'll still be flying those phallic instruments up to wherever he's going to. Probably the moon, isn't it, to go and mine that place. What does he think's going to be in there? Cheese? I know asteroids can be full of gold and all kinds of other stuff, and probably stuff that are really good in mobile phones, which of course is one of those things that will continue to be worth a fortune forever. Anything that's got precious metals that you need to mine to put in there, and then they break within a couple of years and you have to replace them constantly. It's a license to print money, so maybe he's looking for that. The moon full of potatoes. That would make a hell of a lot of sense. It should be. Would be great if it was like a massive piñata, and the next time an asteroid hits it, sweets fall out of it or something. Or diamonds. And then the light shining from the sun is the last little bit of moonlight that you ever see. It always cascades towards the earth and then annihilates people. Kirsty, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, the moon, man. How many moons have we got? I know there's people who watch QI. Did you ever get to the bottom of that? I know it's not just one, is it? Do you reckon there could be more? Is there an unknown amount of moons? Some with very eccentric orbits. I think I seen one where they said it was, we have 2 moons, and I seen one a few years later where they said it wasn't 2 moons. There could be loads of them. Car ferry full of new cars burning just off the Dutch coast, caused by an EV that blew up. They are so dangerous, electric vehicles. I think it was a Top Gear where Richard Hammond crashed, obviously, but he was in a Rimac, and I think he was lucky to get out of it, to be honest with you. And I'm sure they said it went on fire, the batteries went on fire, and no matter how many times they put them out, they kept coming back on fire. So they end up having to sort of dig a hole in the ground, cover it up and just leave it there for however long it took to stop burning. They are so dangerous. And to be honest, electric cars I don't think are as green as people make out. Batteries, use a hell of a lot of materials that need to be mined that use CO2 to make them in the first place. I think possibly the greenest thing you can do, keep hold of your car until you no longer can use it. Buy a second-hand car, an old one, drive that until it's no longer usable. Absolutely drag the arse out of every single one of them. Lizzie, he did spend his entire Top Gear career crashing. I obviously become a standing joke. And yet these have got advanced driving licenses and things, haven't they? I suppose if you are going to be driving things that are, 200 miles an hour, you are going to crash occasionally. The greenest thing you can get is a horse. Yeah, but they're only 1 horsepower, aren't they? Actually, no, they're not, are they? Isn't a horse something like 12 horsepower? There's a way of working out what horsepower is, and it's continued over so long, and a horse can do whatever it is to the tune of something like 12 horsepower, which is insane. See me horse there? 12 horsepower, lad. Got it jacked, pimped, everything. Hello, Jess. The moon's name sounded like Cruithne. Did it? Is that something I have to look into? The first Model T had 20 horsepower. Isn't it insane how far we've come since the Model T? And now you've got cars that are, over 1,000 horsepower. But think about people, I'm trying to think what kind of age, possibly my grandparents' age, who were sort of World War, or even slightly older. There was people who saw the very first flight, the first powered flight, and then within their lifetime, they saw a man walk on the moon. If it happened, we'll keep the conspiracy theorists happy there. But they've gone from watching the very first powered flight to seeing people regularly leaving Earth's atmosphere. And in the same time, people that watched the moon landings, the computing power of that computer that took people to the moon and back home safely and guided all the rockets into space, that has got multiple times as much power as those entire computers. In fact, if you've got an Apple iWatch or something, that's got more computing power. Possibly steps counters, Fitbits have probably got more as well. And we've got them, we just carry them around with us as though it's nothing. It's ridiculous. Yeah, 40 years we learned to fly, breaking the sound barrier. The amount of, development that has gone on from the 1900 to 2000 years must be like nothing else ever had or ever will again. That development, if you ever look like 1900 to 2000, the difference is astronomical. 1800 to 1900, there have been things that changed, that moved on, but 1900 to 2000 is absolutely off the scale. It really is. And we've gone from people still riding horses back then to being cars that could go, say, the Bugatti Veyron or whatever it was, 220 odd miles an hour. Bullet trains that can do over 200 miles an hour. Fly into New York in 4.5 hours, whereas it would take you so many weeks on a boat. It's just insane how quickly it moved on. Partly as well why I think the US is getting a bad reputation around the world. Obviously, it used to be the place that looked forward all the time. During the 50s, everything looked like it was space aged. All the cars with the fins on the back, everything looked space aged. Drive through, go and get your food from a drive-through, and everything just looked futuristic. Things haven't moved on, and yet they seem to be wanting to go back to slavery, guns all the time. Like, just come on, lads, move forward. We need to change here. There needs to be someone. I don't mean Elon Musk or any of them half-wits. One of the countries needs to start moving forward again and trying to genuinely look forward. Whether that's green, moving forward by getting rid of our reliance on fossil fuels, because it is finite. At some point it's just going to end completely, and we need to be ready for it, and I don't think we ever will be at this pace. Jess is pure baffled. This happens all the time. Genuinely. Your granddad was born in 1902. Can you imagine the first time you saw a moving picture? It's bizarre how quickly things like that changed. I was only talking to my dad about it the other day, funnily enough, about like sort of revising for school stuff. When I wanted to revise for me GCSEs, which would have been 1989, I had to go to the library. I had to look through the Encyclopedia Britannica. I had to take a massive book off the shelf and read through it. And only a couple of years later, one of the lads used to come in the pub, handed me a CD-ROM, a disc, with the entire Encyclopedia Britannica on it. And I thought that was just, you couldn't get any better than that. Nothing's ever going to beat that. And yet now, just get on your phone, OK Google, and what have you. No. Shouldn't have said that. That's hypersensitive, that one. Yeah, you say OK, whatever, and any information that you want, you can get hold of there and then. Although a lot of it is on Wikipedia, which is just complete and utter bollocks. So there we go. Jess has had to put up with this baffling for 17 years. You didn't have to. You could have sodded off to Azerbaijan into slavery like I told you should have done. Your mother's friends just lost a 104-year-old grandmother. It is a crazy age. It's going to be, I think it's going to be more and more common as well. That obviously medicine and healthcare is getting better on the whole. In most developed countries, it's getting better. People are living healthier lives. They're eating better. There should be less pollution, so people should be living a lot longer. Jess, we did try to send you, but they sent the money back and said no way, they weren't taking you. They said they were desperate, but not that desperate. Jess can't read. That sounds about right. Unless it's the colour of money. She can read that. As I noticed yesterday. When she turned up with all the Dwayne Eddies and I had to sort it out for her. Pay her out of my account and then pay Northern Ireland and ripped notes and all kinds of dodgy stuff into my account instead. But it worked. And then I kept some money back, and then I swore the Eastern European came to the house and reprogrammed another key for my car. So now I've got two. How cool's that? Steve, Jess isn't a scally. She isn't even a Scouser. She's a wool. She's from Southport, but she was born in Ormskirk. So she's a wool. A pure bad wool. Thankfully. And she's fairly sound as children go. Fairly. Just about put up withable. Lizzie, people are starting to die younger again now. In the UK, and yes, there are reasons for that, and they wear blue ties. That should be a huge red flag. I mean, if that starts happening in one country and the rest of the world, people are living longer and longer, suddenly life expectancy starts dropping. That should be the kind of red flag that you can't ignore. And yet they are. Jess, you're not from Yorkshire. You're a pure wool from Ormskirk. Dinner Lady, is it? Born in Ormskirk. A line from Dinner Ladies. She wouldn't have been born in Ormskirk either, but bizarrely, they split Southport and Ormskirk hospitals sort of 50-50. The maternity is in Ormskirk, adult A&E is in Southport, children's A&E is in Ormskirk. So if you're in a car and have a crash with your kid anywhere in the area where we live, you get taken to Southport and your kid gets taken to Ormskirk. You're not even in the same bleeding hospital. Jess has levelled up to level 1. You're progressing. Jess, why would you want to live till you're very, very old? You'd get bored. You wouldn't. And it's the kind of thing that when you're young, you think, no, I don't want to live till I'm old. I mean, the Who hope I die before they get old. They're now old men, and they're now hoping they live before they get dead. Jess, you're not from Birmingham either. And we can prove that. We could get you on camera and get you to do a Birmingham accent. And trust me, everyone would realise that you're not from Birmingham. Considering you're my kid, your accents are piss poor. When they should be Boston. Casper, you've got some ancestors in the 9th century visited England. I bet they did. Quite a lot of your ancestors would have done, especially the northeast. Newcastle is absolutely Danish, Norse, Viking, Scandinavian central, and they sound like it. Jess, you haven't got a great accent. You sound like a wool, because you are. You're a bad wool. Your Australian accent sounds like you're from India, and your Yorkshire accent sounds like you're from Australia. Harsh but fair. We need to work on your accents. In fact, once I get my sponsorship, I might pay for an accent coach for you. It'll make good content. Can you count to 10 in Australian? Yeah. There could be a whole new series. Jess counts to 10 in such and such an accent. There you go. This is how easy this content creation lark is. Sniper Wolf will be all over this, slapping her cheeks and going, oh my god, she's saying 1 to 10 in Australian. You need accent therapy. Yeah, you do. You don't know how to do your normal accent. You don't actually, because, I mean, I must admit, I couldn't deny you because I'm the same, or I used to be the same. I just talk in any accent that came out. I remember when we lived in the pub, I had 3 fellas almost fighting over where I was from, because every time one of them came to the bar, I'd use a different accent. So when someone said, who saved you? So it's that Geordie lad behind the bar. I thought, well, him? No, he's Welsh. No, he's not. He's from Birmingham. And then when they come to the bar, where are you from? Are you from Wales, Newcastle or Birmingham? Liverpool, mate. So that's the most unconvincing accent you've done all night. Cheers. But yeah, I used to do that all the time. You know, I don't have to sit there counting to 10 in different accents. I will film you. We'll do it professionally. It'll look mint. And then we do it on a live and just get people to tell us what kind of accent they want, and you'll have to do it there and then. No pressure. I thought this is what you kids wanted. This kind of content. It could be the start of something big. You could be a big famous YouTuber. Like PSI. No pressure. Jess will have no idea what that joke meant there, will she? Will you? Will you? No idea at all. Yeah, you do it in different accents. I'll count to 10 in different languages. There we go. Already famous. Jess is already famous. Infamous. Steve will have to guess which accent it is. That'd be a great thing, because I guarantee you'll never know exactly which one it is she's doing, because they all sound completely different. Yes, that is a very, very official dad joke. That's what I do. I'm a dad, it's my job. Yeah, Jess, you're not allowed to do any of the jokes. I do that. I'm the UK's #1 sit-down comedian, and don't you forget it. I've still got me cup, me mug. Jess got me for Father's Day. #1 sit-down comedian. And whenever I have me coffee, I have it in that mug. Whenever I have me charcoal coffee company coffee, I get it in that mug. Oh yeah, Jess doesn't know, I might have a sponsor for the podcast and possibly for the channel. The mug. Yes, Jess, you are the mug. Proper mag. Trying to mag me off like a two-bog, you mag. I need a new mug. My mum has a habit of accidentally smashing them into a million pieces when she washes them. I'm sure she tries to throw them into the sink like Meadowlark Lemon. Meadowlark Lemon was a basketball player, by the way. For anyone that's under about 90. Yeah, Jess, sponsor. Might have a sponsor. It's not Prime. Not Nike. It's my mate's got a company. So you never know. Might end up doing that cringy YouTuber thing. And now a word from our sponsor. But it'll be the first step to glory. Plus, I look forward to seeing him because I've not seen him for a couple of years. He moved away. He was only in Manchester, but never used to see him too often. And he's one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. So I do miss seeing him. Hopefully I'll see him on Thursday. I'll go and have a pint with him. A nice pint of orange and water. Oh, Horace and Kippers. They could do the sponsor. You missed out on that the other day, didn't you? I didn't change it for a new one, but we'll go and check them out anyway. Here we go. I should have changed that and done a different one, shouldn't I? But unfortunately I was running around like a tid in a trance trying to pick you and your mates up, so I forgot to do it. But I will change that because Horace and Kippers are genuinely the two mouthy sods. They really are. Yeah, well-oiled machine. I am exactly like a well-oiled machine. Old, rusty. Do you like the transition, by the way? I've done that myself. Can't you tell? Looks like I spent all of 30p on it. I did that myself. Sat on the sofa bored one night. Yes, Jess, you couldn't afford the amount of diesel that you owe at the moment. But it's all money well spent. Just to make sure that you and your mates are home safe. I would hope that your mates' parents would do the same thing when I'm not there and they're picking you up. I'd hope that they drop you off as well, so it's no big deal. Making sure you're home safe. You know, it's what we do, us dads. You know what I mean? I've got my Stream Deck as well. That's how I trigger me little bits and pieces. I'm getting like a proper full-on YouTuber here, aren't I? Awful. I can have separate camera angles and stuff when I plug everything in, but I think one camera angle is bad enough, isn't it? I might be able to put a camera somewhere else, just point it outside. Outside cam. Sunset cam. I wonder if I can get one on the roof. Just suddenly go to a sunset outside. Is the sun setting? Does anyone know? Oh yeah. Oh. That looks lovely out there. Oh no, I'll take a picture in a bit. It does look absolutely lovely. It is a bit snazzy. Just worked out the other day, I've got about £3,000 worth of YouTube equipment here. It never cost me anywhere near £3,000 before anyone starts worrying. Loads of cheap second-hand eBay stuff, but it is all decent gear. Pretty decent setup for someone who's as bloody awful as I am. Yeah, the little occasional wink to a side camera. Maybe the wink and the gun. Do one of them. Just have one there on the side. winking the gun side. I'll tell you what, I've got a spare camera there. I can plug that in. Spare webcam. I'll do that. Try and make it look more slick. So that more sponsors be beating down my door to pay me money. More sponsors. Jesus. Great, isn't it? Dark on the East Coast. I can imagine you are quite a bit further that way than we are here. It is getting dark out there, to be honest. It looks stunning. It's that part of the evening where that side's west, so you can see where the sun's gone down. Still a little bit light there, but all that lovely sort of, I don't know, there's an eerie atmosphere at this time of night. Summer is back and it were havoc in work. It were havoc with it bloody havoc. Talking about that earlier on, Jess, about it was 19 degrees and it's going to be 28 tomorrow. And you'll be in a van with lots of heat and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be repulsive tomorrow. Make sure you get plenty of water. You will need it. You won't need to go for a pee because it'll be sweating out of you. Get water. In fact, everyone get water. A jazz side eye. Nice. Yeah. Well, obviously he's going to be further east. Yes, Barnesy, he will be, on account of the fact that he's on the East Coast and we're on the West. But yeah, it's noticeably further. I don't think people realise that we're all in the same time zone and we're in the same country, which isn't particularly big, but that difference between sort of Norfolk, Norwich and Liverpool, Southport, it is quite a lot. The difference, if you see, it will be pitch black there. It's nowhere near pitch black here. It was weird when, just before the longest day, I was picking someone up. Got to about 11 o'clock at night, like looking towards the west. You'd swear it was still early evening. It was that light. It was strange. Yep, Steve got it. Again. Jess is just down the road and it's dark. Jess, have you got the curtains closed, love? Is that what it is? That's what happens when you close the curtains, it goes pitch bleeding black. Yeah, but look. You can't see, can you? No. But it's not. Yeah, oh, Jack has leveled up as well, Barnesy. Happy days. What are points make? Prizes. You open the curtains and it's dark. Don't forget where you live, Jess. The houses opposite are relatively built up and there's a tree outside. And I'm trying to think which way you're looking. Do your bedrooms or do your rooms look south? Or southwestish? I think they are, aren't they? You're not looking completely to the west. When I look that way, it's directly west, so I can see still a little bit of light. Probably the wrong way, yeah. You're definitely looking the wrong way, Jess. Oh no, it was good the other day when we had that super moon and I dropped you off. That looked absolutely massive. Looked great in your road. We had the tree that's in. Is it in yours or next door? Is the tree hanging over? The moon looking through the branches. That was boss. That very atmospheric. Really atmospheric. Go to your mum's room and see if it's dark or not. If you switch the light on, it won't be dark. Pro tip. Just a heads up. Yes, I do have a point, Jess. I have lots of points, as you will have noticed, on account of the fact that I make them regularly to you, trying to wise you up, and it never seems to work. It's like talking to a wall. Although not many walls talk as much as you do. It's funny on those days when I don't see you, I suddenly think I've gone deaf, but it's not, it's just you're not there. Do we have a blemish on the camera? Oh. Let's have a look. Is that any better? Are we alright? Do I need to clean the bleeding thing? I'll have to, won't I? I haven't cleaned it since I've got it. Phlegm. Is it clean? Don't need to. How do I clean the lens of a camera? Don't even know that. How can I get to 50 and not know? Just checking, you never know. The Bob Flemish. Oh, man. There's something I'm going to have to look into, though, because I will have to make sure that I'm keeping them clean. I bought a vintage lens as well for it. For when I want to go out and start recording. If I want to go start making films. I want to be the next Wes Anderson. Try and look old. All that proper old footage that he does, they're fantastic the way his films look. I haven't tried it yet though. I'm scared to try it. Don't want to break my camera. Can't be doing that. It does look good though. I've done a thumbnail with it, with the lens. It looks boss. Flemish, that'll be close to you anyway, won't it, as well? Belgium's just across the road. Quick hop across the North Sea. An evil sea, by the way. Especially during the winter. Like I say, we used to come back to England on the ferry. Rotterdam to Hull during the winter. Oh my god. It is horrific on that North Sea during the winter. Freezing cold. Massive waves. Even with the stabilisers on the ship, it was rolling sideways. And that was where, like I mentioned earlier on in the RDA chat, where someone said to me, "You speak fairly good English." Really? Cheers for that. I am English. But it was because she'd heard me speaking Dutch and thought I was actually Dutch, which I think speaks well of my level of Dutch at the time. That I sounded like a native Dutch speaker. There was no hint of an accent. I just sounded like I was meant today. I think part of the reason why we moved back as well as me sister was 5 when we moved back home. She couldn't tell the difference between Dutch, English. The next door neighbours were another footballer from Denmark. So she was playing with their kids, so she was picking up little Danish phrases and Dutch phrases and German. There's a German family lived down the road, and it was just all languages all together. And she couldn't tell the difference when she was coming home and she was speaking this hybrid language. No one in England knew what she was talking about. And when I was on the ship one day, I had to say to me mum, what's the English for spirity morning? Which was green beans. And she answered me in English. They're called green beans, love. And the fella who was serving looked at me like I was mental. I must have thought, what on earth is wrong with this kid? Scouse kid, and he's asking what's English for something. But yeah. So I think my dad moved back to make sure that we didn't end up completely losing being able to speak English. Not that we would, jeez. The amount of people that speak English over in the Netherlands, they speak better English than we do here. Easily. Much better. I used to do English in school. Genuinely. Mr. Brown went to the station. Repeat after me. Mr. Brown went to the station. The teacher used to say to me, you're alright. Sit at the back of the class and do your homework. You don't need to do this. Alright, sound. So I didn't do English. I just sat and done my homework. But in the Dutch version of English, like we've got English that you learn over here and English literature. Over there you'd have their version of Dutch, which was taal with language, or taalstructuur, the structure of language. I was top of the class for both of them, despite the fact that I was not Dutch. I had a flair for languages back then. Jess, can I make a suggestion for your channel? You can suggest anything you like. I'll probably take no notice of you because, you are a buffoon. But yeah, go ahead, try it. Steve, yeah, it's shallow. The North Sea is really shallow, relatively speaking, which means that those waves are absolutely horrific. Obviously, if it was deeper, there'd be less power, wouldn't there? There'd be less to push against them up. It can be a horrible sea to be in. (2033) sunset in Norwich. 2051 in Truro in Cornwall. 2053 in Newcastle, despite the fact that Newcastle's on the east and Truro is west. Truro's down south, isn't it? Newcastle is just round the corner from Norway. Speaking structure, yeah, talstruktur, the structure of language. Reaction videos would be an idea. Just everything that we're doing now grew up around a reaction channel. So I'd be worried and a bit wary about doing reaction videos, especially as some of the stuff I wouldn't be able to react to. The music ones, especially, first time hearing. There's not many things that I've not heard before in terms of stuff that people would want to see reactions to. I obviously haven't heard everything, but when people say, right, react to this artist, yeah, I've heard them. How? Because I've got ears. But if you want to try and suggest some bands that you'd want me to react to, I will consider it, Jess. Barbie soundtrack, Foxtrot Oscar, right now. Not a chance. Not happening. Pissing Barbie. Oh. That whole Barbie and Oppenheimer thing. Oh. What were they calling it? Barbenheimer. Why has everything got to have a label like that on it? Don't get me on my soapbox, Jess. Don't get me on my soapbox. You don't want to hear me doing it. My reaction, I don't think YouTube would allow my kind of reactions to that kind of thing, would they? It'd just be a rant. An expletive-filled rant. Ryan Gosling is a great singer. I don't think great would be the word for that. Ryan Gosling can sing. Might be more on the mark. But yes. No, Steve, I'm not off, mate. I'm staying zen, staying in the zone. Yeah, but I was thinking I'm going to do some music stuff sort of separately, but it's going to be hidden sort of 90s UK indie. And the reason why I wanted to do it, again, goes back to Embrace the Suck 21. When they fell into the Oasis rabbit hole, I thought Oasis were world famous, and they're not. They obviously, the new Wonderwall, I think the majority of the world will know 2, maybe 3 Oasis songs, and then the rest of it, they have got no clue. So it got me thinking there was bands around at the same time as Oasis who I thought were better songs, better sound, better musicians, better songwriters, better bands, and yet they weren't as big as Oasis were here. So there will be an audience for people who've got no idea about these bands. I thought I'd just do some reactions to songs that I know and love, talking about why I like them so much, why it was important, why these songs were important at this step in my life, and just see if people start to discover new music through me. So I'm going to give that a go and see if anyone watches any of it, and if they do, they do, and if they don't, no harm done. I'm not chasing the dollar, so I don't have to try and react to the same things that everyone's reacting to. I don't have to do it as a first time either. I can just be upfront and tell people about it. Yeah, I've still got to make sure to try and sort out that the podcast episode. I'm really annoyed with Podcaster, which is the podcast for Spotify, which is the I think Spotify actually own this bit of software. Podcasters, it's called. You got it on your phone or you can get it on the laptop, and it just, every time I try and record any episode, it cocks up. Barnsley, what kind of bands? Things like Ultrasound, the Cooper Temple Clause, In fact, I might have a few of them on here. Let's see if I can find who else I've got. There's loads of songs and playlists. Loads of songs, loads of bands, just stuff that I remember from the 90s that maybe other people have not heard for a while. Come on, where are you? Why is it every playlist that I try and find is right at the bottom? Yeah, Ultrasound, Jocasta, Manson. They're a very, very underrated band. They're from Chester, but they sort of grew up around Liverpool, so used to see them play live quite a lot. The Telescopes, Ultra Vivid Scene. Bands like Catherine Wheel, who are they're from East Anglia, aren't they? Eat, Vex Red, Salad, Alfie. Alfie are a brilliant band, a brilliant Manchester band. This goes back to talking about getting into bands based purely on the artwork. Alfie had a band. Alfie, well, where are we? View the album. He had an album called A Word in Your Ear, and to show you that, it looked like a kid's book from when I was growing up. I thought that looks fantastic. I'm gonna listen to that and hope that it's decent. And it turns out it was a brilliant, brilliant album by a brilliant band. So, yeah, I think that's the kind of thing I'd like, just to play a few songs from these bands and see if anyone likes them. If you like me and someone gives you, listen to this song from this band that you might like, and I do like it, I will then go and check out their entire back catalogue. So I'd like to be able to do that. Hopefully, if one person likes one song and finds a band on the back of it, then it will have been worth it. I will, at the end of when I've done my bits and pieces like that, I'm going to put that into a playlist. I'm going to make a podcast episode of that as well. If Podcasters plays ball, because it really isn't at the moment. Every time I do try and record one, it just causes absolute chaos. And considering Spotify own it, they should make it really easy. I think it's possibly because it's a music podcast and I can't monetize it based on the songs. But every song that's on there that they play goes towards that band's royalties, so I don't see what the problem is. I know obviously they don't want someone just playing the most popular bands and getting their podcast monetized in the same way you do on YouTube, because you can't do it there either. But yeah, but Podcasters is such an absolute knobber of a thing. Elbow, Steve, yeah, not many reactions to that, and they're a band who I think are quite unfairly tainted at times. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a frontman who's fairly well read, intelligent, and writes good kitchen sink drama lyrics. You know, work well for the Smiths. I'm not saying Elbow anywhere near as good as the Smiths or the same kind of vein, but yeah, that's social commentary. I mean, Lippy Kids is a fantastic song, and whenever they sing it, I can picture it. That's Simeon Stroll. I mean, man, that's growing up. That's what kids were like back then. So I just like the fact that he does. It's not poetry to music. He just writes good lyrics. So yeah, maybe there should be more Elbow reactions. I think I've got a couple of Elbow songs in that playlist for bands that maybe got passed by, but most of the stuff I'm doing is the 90s. They're not all English either. Ultra Vivid Scene from the US, but I love them. Ultra Vivid Scene also are in my shoegaze playlist, which I was talking to Lizzie about yesterday. I love a bit of shoegaze. A very, very underrated genre, or subgenre. I can't even speak English. What's going on with me here? Yeah. Equality for women and a gender. No, it isn't. And it's for someone who's got a thingy-me-jig as a child. What do they call it? A woman. It annoys me the way women do get treated. I don't think I don't think as a fella you realise it until suddenly you do have your own child, and then think, maybe I should have stood up for my mum and my sister a bit more in the past. Uh, all we have to do as lads is just make that little bit of a change. Don't be stupid. Don't treat women like scum. Treat them like they've got a brain. No, it's not difficult because they have. And also, if you do happen to have a son as a child, teach him not to be a knobhead around children. If we all do that, maybe things will change. Just the leveling stuff, the more you chat, the more you're in the chat, the more chance you've got of leveling up, and you'll get points. And what do points make? Answer is prizes, by the way. Some of them have a brain. Yep, I think they all have. Those that don't, I don't think necessarily outweigh the fellas who don't have brains. I like talking to mates, or I say mates, people who I know, who are quite horrible to pretty much everyone. Racist, sexist, homophobic, everything. Just been brought up like they were dragged up from the 1970s. Going on about how horrible some of the people are who are coming over to this country. Like people coming over in small boats. And I always say the same thing to them. The vast majority of knobheads who I've ever met in my life have been white males. And it still, to this day, stands up. And I was trying to explain it once to a lad. And I really wanted to point out the majority of knobheads I've met have been white males, like you. But I thought he wouldn't quite get the irony. Or probably just pull a knife out and stab me, so I thought I'll swerve it for the time being. Jess, you do have a brain. The only problem is you don't use it all the time, do you? Sometimes just stop, take a breath, stop talking, and think. That'll work wonders. Yeah, do you know what, the levelling up thing, this all came from, I was watching a YouTube video about how to make the streams a bit better. And I know I wanted to have the chat put on the side. I couldn't find a decent way of doing it. And then I seen this video about Botrix, or Botrix, which is a widget which takes all the chat from YouTube and just puts it into what you see on the screen now on the side. But at the same time, you can also have loyalty. Click on loyalty and put that in. And then it suddenly has a little bit of a league table, and you level up by engaging in the chat. So I think it's more for things like Twitch. When you're a Twitch streamer, if you get people in the chat, the more that happens, the more money you can make. But it seems to work well in this as well, so people seem engaged, and if that's the case, more power to it. There is a little thing I can do, which I'm going to try maybe in a future live, is I think there's a shop. I can put a widget up on the screen as well, and if you make a certain amount of points, you can then go and spend those points on something I can provide. Yeah, maybe a way of being able to create something and give back to this wonderful community of fantastic people, and you are fantastic people. Nice. Do you know what, Barnsley? It is a rush when you get leveled up. It's a rush when I see people getting leveled up on this, to be honest with you. I think it's great. And it's nice for me as well, because I know it's being part of other communities and seeing people getting involved in the chat. I know how often you do get involved and how often you talk to each other and talk to whoever's doing the live. I love it. It's great. And just seeing people leveling up means that they are getting involved, not necessarily just talking to me, but talking to each other as well. That's what part of the community is, isn't it? Being part of that. Yeah, just leveling up. Eventually, you're going to reach that plateau where you get all your points. Steve, what is it with potatoes? Right, I'm going to have to explain because I don't think everyone knows what it's about. In the RDA chat, I think, was it Dan was trying to send an emoji, one of those exploding emojis, and every time he tried to do it, possibly doing a smiley face instead, it was coming up with an exploding potato. So he just said, fucking potatoes. And then every morning, everyone wishes each other happy fucking potatoes now, instead of good morning. So potatoes have become like an unofficial currency for the channel. Plus, if anyone's searching through YouTube and sees Ninja Potatoes, I thought it might have been something that they think, what the hell is that? I need to check this out. So it's a bit clickbaity as well, which sounds... I always thought clickbait was dolphin porn, but, you know, there you go. Jess, if you level up and tell you what you're going to get a dry slap. Pimp slapped and then sent into slavery in Azerbaijan. I get ninja because of my lurking skills. Ninja plus potatoes equals ninja potatoes. So it's a bit weird, actually. I didn't realise that. Yeah, Steve, you're not missing much. It's just, it's slightly bizarre. I didn't realise that during my time on YouTube, I would become both a postman and a ninja, which is news to me, but I quite like it. I like the idea of a ninja postman as well, so that may be something to go forward. Which is also why I've got my little transition of... And I know he's not a ninja. Right, he's not a ninja, I know that, but I was bored one night and I just thought, yeah, it's a bit ninjery. Just a bit ninjery, not completely ninjery. Ninja-esque. A supersonic ninjerish. The postman did stick. I still get caught occasionally as well. I don't think the postman will ever go away. It's still doing the rounds. Oh my word. These are exquisite dad jokes, these, aren't they? But I'm going to have to sort out that stream deck. I need to get some potatoes in there. I need to get some postman stuff in there. I need to update Horace and Kippers. I need to do something with Horace and Kippers, actually. They like being on screen. Kippers especially. He's a proper diva. Full-on diva. Loves it. He wants his ring light. He wants his Winnebago, his little truck. He wants his water and he's bringing his Mat AT, whatever it's called, Match AT. He wants the lot. Spudney Trotter, Potato Jones. There's been lots of Spud talk today, hasn't there? Spuddy Harrelson. Channing Potatum. Often thought if anyone just accidentally comes across this, because there is a chance that they could, I was sitting there thinking, what the hell are these people talking about? Ninja potatoes, what is going on? And what is the hot coffee cash machine? Every time I go past it, I just see the same thing. It just sounds like, what's that film? Hot tub time machine thing. It just sounds the same as that. So, Kip does need his own channel. Kippers might get his own channel at some point. You never know. I was going to do Kippers reacting to one of my videos. Hello, I've just leveled up as well, level 2. It does get absurd obscure every day. You're right, Lizzie. But so it should. The world is the world is shit all the times, isn't it? And if you can find something that's a little bit fun, a little bit absurd, just to take the edge off things, then I think that should be the way to do it. The bot has just leveled itself up. This has gone meta. You can't stop the bot. Can't stop the bot. You can't stop the bot. Botrix plays by his own rules. He's leveled up to level 2. If he feels like it, he'll just go level 10. He'll put himself into red alert. Which means changing the bulb. The bot is a cheat. Do you know what though? You have to be nice to me because I have the power. Me, I can go in on Botrix and I can add and subtract points from people. So if people are nice to me, I can add. If people are horrible and nasty, I can take away from them. You could get rid of me and take over the chat. Do you know what? I think at some point Botrix will take over enough. Who's it, YouTubers? No, enough people who are doing live streams. You'll take over their chats, and at some point it'll all connect, and that'll be it. We will be done for. And then Sniper Wolf will react to it and go, "Oh my god, Botrix has totally taken out." Yeah, it'll be awful. It's like taking over. It is like taking over Skynet. This is how it starts. At some point. Yes, I wouldn't take any points off you. If anything, I'd add them to you, and then take them away first. Just means that you've got to keep on coming into the streams and commenting to make sure that you get your points. Show up or put up and shut up. Show up or shut up. There you go, Jess. I'm getting that on a t-shirt so you can have that as merch. Show up or shut up. Can't wait for that when the merch goes live. Potato Fabergé eggs. Who wouldn't want one? Let's face it. Who wouldn't want one? Spud Hammer Ali. I like that. He is the greatest. I need to do something with MASH as well, don't I? Obviously, because I'm obsessed with the TV show MASH. Could have worn my MASH t-shirt instead of me manga one. There you go. The nearest I could get to something injury. But I need to do something with MASH. Hawkeye. Radar or something. Yeah. MASH themed potatoes. They'd work on a t-shirt. Mandy, stop moaning. Get on with your knitting. Trapper. Yep. So I do. I absolutely love MASH, and I'm pissed off at the moment. It gets shown overnight. It gets shown at 7 o'clock, I think it is, and then repeated at midnight, and that's the one that I watch as part of me comfort and familiarity hour or two. But also they show episodes during the day on another one of these great TV channels, just a different one, but they'll show it about. It used to be 2 episodes, 11:30, and now they're only showing 1 episode, and I hate it because it's just completely ruined me rhythm. Fair play though, Mandy. I must admit, seeing the potatoes that you've knitted, they are a work of genius, a work of art. The hairy potatoes, or the HB, the hairy potato, in especially, looks fantastic. How you manage that with that mad arse wool is beyond me. Lizzie, make a pure silver potato. Here we go. This is what I need. You need to have a conveyor belt of people making potatoes. This could be the currency for the channel. Everyone could want their own potato. Knitting spuds. A potato play button. Now, see, that's what... I could have one because I'm never going to get to 100,000 subs like the boys did. I'm never going to get a silver one. Definitely not going to get a gold or diamond one like Senor Beast. But I could have a spud play button. You know what? I was just saying the other day, I've been on YouTube since 2006. And I put my first video up in 2009. Isn't that ridiculous? And I have never once seen a single Mr. Beast video, ever. I'd never seen a Casey Neistat one until last week. And actually I should have watched more because he was brilliant explaining how he does his vlogs. It was good to see actually he's explaining things, the technical side of things. I was quite impressed with him. Yes, Jess, you was 3. in 2009. I started it in 2006 though, don't forget when you were born. I also signed up for Twitter in 2009. It was a big year that year. That's how I ended up doing my first video. If you go back and have a look at my early videos, there's some poetry and there's some bear videos. We had a little community on Twitter, which I think was called QQCvid or something. Quick question, create video. So that someone would put a question on, and then everyone would record a little video on YouTube and share it with each other. So what's your favourite book and why? And then I think that's one of my videos that I had to do. Who's your favourite musicians? And everyone just jump on and do a quick video and share it with the little community. But then I did nothing for years and years and years, and then suddenly, when I was lying in the hospital, I was thinking to myself, I'd love to be able to get some of this stuff out of my head onto me Twitter. No, it wasn't me Twitter. What could I do? It's like, well, I could do it on YouTube. Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel. Why don't I put it on there? I couldn't do it in the hospital. So when I come out, that's when I started making me videos about the stroke journey. And I wish I'd done it years ago. I wish I'd done it when lockdown started and everyone became millionaires overnight. Because I'd have had so much time to do it. I could have learned better. I could have had my stuff bought earlier. And it might have actually took away that issue that I had with having the stroke in the first place. I might have had more time doing that than doing the things that caused me to have the issues. Jess got YouTube in 2016. Not when you turn 16, obviously. Because YouTube has changed. It's gone very odd. Oh, bye losers. Charming. Taking after a mum there. That's not me. I don't say stuff like that. Yeah, but if I started back then, I'd have had more time to do stuff. I probably wouldn't have ended up having a stroke in the first place. I'd have had an outlet that didn't involve grapes or eating shite. Which is what's caused me the problems, really. Those two things. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, someone did say to record the Everton game on Saturday. I might do a couple of videos before and maybe a reaction to it afterwards, but I can't see me being able to do much filming, go into the ground and back and what have you, because I think I'll end up being too exhausted. I still haven't worked out me timings for it, where to park. So it's been like 3 years since my dad drove. It's over 3 years, it was March 2020. So I don't even think where we used to park will be a place where I can park now. If I get me blue badge as a result of getting PIP, which I doubt, that would be alright to be able to park somewhere close to the ground. But even then I'd have to phone up and find out where. Odd, innit, odd. All these things I haven't had to think about at all. I now have to take into consideration. Where do I park? Where do I go? If we'd have moved into Bramley Moor by now, it wouldn't have been an issue. I'd have got the train to Sandhills and just walked up. It took me time to this brand new stadium. Wouldn't have been a problem. But Goodison's a bit of a walk from the nearest train station. And I don't think I'm anywhere near able to walk from there. Yeah, not allowed to film the game either. Got to be careful what you film in that place. Like I said before, you're not allowed to have alcohol within sight of the pitch. And yet, because I'm so tall, when I stand and have my beer, I can look out and see the pitch from on the concourse. So am I breaking the law or are Everton breaking the law? We don't know. Yeah, they're looking at building a train station near Bramley Moor. There's because it's on the docks, there used to be a railway for taking things from the docks around to Lime Street and beyond. So there's like a little loop that used to be used for freight trains, which they were talking about making the Sergeant Pepper line, which will go to Bramley Moor, go to Anfield, it'll go to their stadium. It will go to a couple of other places that don't really have train links at the moment. It'll go to Croxteth and Norris Green, unfortunately, so it'll be full of little feral rats, these little North Face ninjas all trying to shoot each other. Steve, we're playing Fulham, first game of the season, on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Marco Silva's Fulham, so obviously they're going to beat us because we binned them off because we were 8th in the table, and that wasn't good enough. And then since then we've had calamity after calamity after calamity, spent hundreds and hundreds of millions on utter shite, and I've got ourselves into trouble. The lights are not on a timer, and the power bank that I put them in is fully charged, but it will go fairly soon because they don't have to take up some power. I bought 2 more of them as well. Same lights, 2 more because I love them so much. I am obsessed with lights. I'm going to plug them into the powered USB and have them pointing that direction, I think, behind me. But I like having the ones behind me because, see, I've got blue on one side, so I've probably blue on one side and red on the other, which pops me out from the back. I've also got me metal climbing the mountains to get over me stroke sign up there as well. The mountains have played a very big part in me recovery. The Everton and Liverpool coaches, they parked at the same place. That'll be on normally they park outside Goodison by the park, Stanley Park. There's a pain with trying to park for me though. Again, my dad used to try and get there early enough. We used to have, there's a pub that our mates used to run, the Carisbrook. He'd always try and make sure that he put some cones out for us and we'd be able to park there. But that's closed and it's being knocked down, so no way of parking there now, unfortunately. Apart from that, we'd have to park quite a distance away and walk to the ground, and that's the reason why my dad gave up his season ticket after he had this heart operation. He's just not able to walk that distance and walk back, and his mate is getting towards 80 now, I think. He can't do it either. So, yeah, absolute pain in the arse. They can't do it. My lift's gone. I can't walk the distance either, even if I park where they used to. So I'm going to have to find somewhere, go a lot earlier, find somewhere close, or see if I can find somewhere that you can pay to park, which I know there's a couple of places, but it's been that long since I've been in the game. I don't know if they're still able to just drive in there and pay on the day, or you have to speak to them first. I will find out on Saturday, and I'll find out how likely it is that I'll be able to do this for the rest of the season. If the first game is tiring enough, I might not be able to. I might have to just give me ticket to my mate again, but absolute pain. Yeah, you would have walked across Stanley Park, I think Priory Road, all the coaches parked there. It's funny how we have this thing about all Evertonians are Scousers and all the Liverpool fans are foreigners. It's a standing joke. Obviously not all Blues are from Liverpool and not all Liverpool fans are from abroad. But if you see Everton on a home game, there's 1 or 2 coaches that might come from North Wales, some from Yorkshire, some from here, there and everywhere, but not loads. When Liverpool play at home, the amount of coaches is insane. Absolutely insane. If you go to Liverpool on a weekend that they're playing at home, it's full of absolutely bewildered looking Norwegians in some of the worst clobber you've ever seen in your life. Just carrying loads of bags full of Liverpool gear, which is why I've got mates who are Reds. They can't get tickets anymore. They don't want them there. They don't want locals going to the game. Because if you're a local, you're in the pub until about 10 to 3. Then you walk in, watch the game, walk out, go straight to the pub. You never walk past the club shop once. You never spend a single penny in there. They want people coming over from somewhere else, spending hundreds and hundreds in the club shop. So the locals are just being treated like shit. And as much as they love the fact that they're a big club, I'm not arsed. I can go to the game. I've got my season ticket anyway. So I know we've got a waiting list now, but it's not the same as them. It's not the same as Man United either, or the other big clubs where you get treated as just a number. We've got a bit more about us, I think. Yes, I'll send you the link to my dad's documentary. Yeah, someone's put it on YouTube. We couldn't because it's obviously it's ESPN, and I didn't want us getting in trouble by using copyright material, but someone in Holland did put it on there, so I'll send you the link to that, Steve. It's good, actually. It was only supposed to be half an hour long. It was supposed to be edited down to half an hour, but it ended up being 45 minutes because I think the ESPN people were so impressed with how it turned out. Slightly different to a lot of documentaries that they made of other players. So I think it says a lot about me dad, the person that he is, and the way he comes across on the screen. So yeah, I'll send you that as soon as I can. I haven't been in Anfield for a while, so I've not seen the new stand, the hole punch stand. It looks like a hole punch, doesn't it? Their fans are absolutely incredible. Anfield, of course, it used to be Everton Stadium. We won the league there before they even existed as a club. So no matter what happens in the future, the first team to win the league at Anfield was Everton. We're now onto our third stadium in the city. They haven't built one yet. They just keep putting ugly additions to that stadium. And yet they seem to think that they're somehow vitally important. And they're not. But yeah, you know what? Man United, I can imagine the same as Liverpool. They'll have fans from all over the world and other places. I do think United and Liverpool benefited from tragedy in that way, and it's a horrible thing to say, but I think the Munich air disaster and then Hillsborough brought them into a lot of people's consciousness around the world, and people got a soft spot for them, feeling sorry for the clubs, quite rightly, and they've ended up with a lot of support on the back of it, which is, I think, Chapecoense, the Brazilian team, a lot that's happened to them as well after their plane crash. It didn't work with Torino though, bizarrely. Torino are a huge traditional Italian football club who had their own air disaster, and yeah, no one seems to follow them as a result. It's strange. Yeah. But, you know, these things happen, don't they, unfortunately. And I think both sets of clubs, United and Liverpool, the fans need to wind their necks in and stop point scoring. They both sing about each other's tragedies, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. That whole thing about no one should go to a football match and not come home is 100% right. So, you know, the Ibrox disaster, Rangers fans, Bradford, all the same thing. People shouldn't be making currency out of ripping the piss out of each other over it. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. I've seen Everton fans taking the piss out of Hillsborough at Anfield, and I've seen them knocked out within seconds for doing it. It's normally people who are not from the city, and it's normally young lads thinking they're edgy, not realising that all of us in the city knew someone or were related to someone who died in Hillsborough. So it needs to stop. Hopefully it will. But you never know, because people are just absolute scum these days. They don't realise the impact that they have on people. Yeah. Anyway, this has been 2 hours. Why didn't someone say something? Oh, man. Should have said. I'll get off in a sec. Yeah. Casper, most games over here, you've got to be segregated for safety. Everton and Liverpool never used to. It's got to the point now, if you see a red on the Gladys Street, 9 times out of 10 they'll be alright, but not always. Because it's seen as being, there's other places in the stadium where you can go and sit while you're coming here. And the same with, there used to be loads of blues on the Cop at Anfield. That's slowly and surely being reduced because there's just too much trouble. It's not the friendly derby anymore, and it's normally edgy, young, knobheads from out of town who are doing it. It's stupid. It needs to stop. Steve, Mandy, can you send a picture of your knitted spuds? Fair play. They are absolutely amazing, by the way. I will flash Mandy's spuds to you, Steve. Not a problem. They are genuinely a work of art. Fantastic things. You should continue making them and stick them on an Etsy store, because I reckon you'd make money out of them. They are cute, and I think people would like them. If you go on Etsy and have a look, there's just all kinds of random stuff on there anyway, so why wouldn't spuds be on it? Ninja spuds. Why would they not be on Etsy? Why would people not want them? Make them. Make an Etsy store. There you go. You don't need to put your face on it or anything. It's not like YouTube. Make yourself a few quid. You just ask. Yeah, Lizzie's told you. Lizzie's making a fortune on OnlyFeet. Listen to the lady. She knows what she's talking about. Be on Dragon's Den next. Ninja Spuds on Dragon's Den. I'm out. They are quality potatoes. Proper artistic potatoes. Quality, man. Marked to 7 people tops. Those 7 people could be billionaires who are willing to buy every potato that you have by the sackful. Get on there. Get yourself sorted. From tiny acorns do giant oaks grow. Oh, God. Right, I'm going to have to stop this now, aren't I? Because I'm fatigued and I need alcohol-free wine. And I need to get on YouTube and find out some of those links I was talking about earlier. Because there's some absolutely incredibly odd people. Content creators. Which I hate that phrase, content creator. YouTuber and content creator. If you do anything, if you send a tweet, you are creating content. If you write one of those stupid Facebook status, I hate Facebook. One of Facebook statuses, you're creating content. Oh, talking to Facebook, seen today that one of the old coaches from Middlesbrough died. John Corrington I'm mates with his son. When we lived there, real good mates with him and his son and his daughter. A lovely, lovely man. Huddersfield and Middlesbrough legend. So horrible seeing that today. It's one of the only things that I like on Facebook is getting news and knowing what's going on and being able to send a bit of sympathy back that way to a very, very nice family. But apart from that, Facebook can swivel. Can't stand it. It's supposed to be just full of family and friends, isn't it? I think someone said Twitter was full of people you wish you were friends or you wish you knew in real life, and Facebook is full of people that you wish you didn't know in real life, and I think that sums it up perfectly. I only really keep it to see which of me mates are out of prison these days. Perhaps. Show me your spuds. Slick that, Steve. Slick, mate. Yeah, the Facebook's absolutely bleeding awful. Just the same shite. Full of Prosecco Huns. Do you know them? There's always absolute murder going on with them and the boyfriends or husbands. That bastard. And then I'll inbox me Hun. Get yourself a cheeky Prosecco Hun. The Prosecco Huns. It's full of them. If you're having girder with your missus or, your husband or your fella, do it in private. You don't need to be throwing everything on Facebook. Just get off it. Behave. Yes, Facebook memories. Even they are not that good, to be honest. I had a friend who died. I think she might have been late 40s, 47 or 48. And then it come up the other day, you have a memory with someone. Would have been talking about an Everton game because he was a Blue as well. But I don't really want to be reminded of people, friends who've died in the past. Just no need for it whatsoever. And I think the longer obviously you go on, the more people you will have memories with who are no longer with us. So it's a horrible thing to do. It needs to stop. At least now companies are getting onto that thing of whenever it comes to Father's Day and Mother's Day, you'll get an email of someone saying, do you want to opt out of this? Do you not want to hear any more of this particular date? Fine, we'll get out of it. So that's a nice way of doing it. Facebook, on the other hand, Zuckerberg, the same as Musk, just brainless. I'll bet the pair of them. They're having a fight together, aren't they? Is it possible for two people to lose at the same time? I hope so. Absolute top hats. Anyway, yeah, it's been over 2 hours. Should have told me. Just been rambling on about absolute rubbish all night. I will give you your night back. thank you very much for joining me. Hit a like on the way out, because let's face it, we need to tickle the algorithm now, don't we? That's what it's all about, apparently. Tickle that algorithm. Yeah, and Steve, I will send you that link in on Instagram, and hopefully I will see you all soon. Thank you very much for joining with me. You are, as always, I'm going to sound like Bob Mortimer, am I? You are, as always, an adult heron. No, you are fantastic people. Thank you very much.